Thank you. So the next horse is Royalty R and Serena Island, competing here last weekend very successfully. And I think it's a horse with a big R on its shoulder that must be related to you, Rozzie. R for Rozzie. Do you know this one's breeding?
This one's one of my grandchildren. It's by Regardez-moi, out of the Jive Ilke mare. What can you? Josie. So she's Josie. out of Josie. Hello. It's all right.
So Jive Ilke was an imported horse. It was seriously impressive, and I think he throwed Ilke for a little while. Did he throw Ilke?
No. Silver.
Oh, don't.
Silver Martin
Silver Martin rode Ilke.
Yeah.
Big chestnut horse. So really well bred.
Yeah.
And what level now, Serena? Advanced. So we're looking at the more engaged, more uphill horse that we were talking about, the shoulder and lateral work starts to bring the whole horse upward. So thanks, Rozzie.
So we thought this horse is competing advanced, so he already knows the flying changes. But so many people bring their horse to you and they go, I've started the flying changes, but they're late, or they haven't started the flying changes and they want to start the flying changes. And you as the coach has to help them sort their way through that. So we thought, Serena and I, even though this horse knows the flying changes, that we would start showing how we start the flying changes. Now, Serena has, there's all sorts of ways you can do this, and you will end up with your flying changes. There's no problem. But we thought that we would show you this, and Serena has started the flying changes in a different way than I would, but she's obviously getting them successfully, so it's good to know that you can start this in all sorts of different ways. So firstly, the first thing that I want to do before I even think about the flying changes is, can I control the canter a little bit? Because I want the canter a little shorter and a little bouncier, and try not to shorten him too much in the neck as he shortens. So I want to be able to collect the canter and then say to him, but you carry yourself in the canter, that's it. So little release, just tiny. He doesn't have to have a loose rein, but just, I would like to see, just as he collects, for you to be able to keep the neck a fraction longer. And that's absolutely, this is reality. When you first start to shorten the canter, oh my goodness, the horse has come too short in the neck. And so then as a rider, you have to be really, really careful with being able to shorten the canter and keep the neck not too short. Okay, so that's homework. We're not going to work on that now. That'll be something that will happen gradually. So the next thing, I can shorten the canter, I can make the canter a bit bigger. Can I move the horse a little bit off the leg in the canter? So firstly, can I ride a little bit shoulder in, which we can. Good. And again, not too short in the neck, keep trying not to get him short in the neck. And then can I ride a little bit shoulder in the other way? So a little bit right flexion and move the horse a little bit off the right leg. I find this really, really helpful exercise, especially if you want to collect, move the horse off the leg and not slow the tempo too much. So yeah, good. And then can you ride a little bit travers left? Okay, this is all leading up towards canter pirouette as well, but very useful before the flying changes. I want the horse very comfortable off the leg, either way. Good work, and then straighten up, give him a pat. Good lad, really nice. Now, the way that we teach the flying changes is now I would go up the quarter line, just normally up the quarter line, nothing fancy, just straight ahead, and he just canters up the quarter line, straight. Super, good job. Okay, come down the next quarter line, and you're going to just have a little bit right flexion and move him a little off your right leg. That's all you're going to do. No change, no nothing, but we have a little right flexion, move the horse a little off the right leg, so you're going a little bit, almost a little shoulder in right, like a little leg yielding. Super, super. Okay, do that once more. And I would want the horse, just like this horse, he's just waiting. He's going, what the hell is she doing? Because this is not the way that Serena taught this horse. Good, good, no more than that. And then down the next quarter line, Serena just set up a little bit like that for a flying change, and then we'll ride a flying change to the right and counter-canter through this short side. Oh, beautiful change, good boy. And now counter-canter. Now that's not reality for most of us that are doing our first flying change. It's not going to be like that, but that was lovely. Back across the diagonal, good job, really good job. So I would say there you will get a smorgasbord of things happening. You might get no reaction, you might nearly get bucked off, you might... Okay, come down the quarter line again, Serena. Same thing, just straight the first time. But this is the way we teach all of ours. And Serena's going to show us the way she taught this horse, obviously beautifully. Actually, just let him walk and have a little break. Good boy. We'll do it the other way in a sec. So realistically, what might happen there is, firstly, you get zero reaction. You might get a wonderful flying change, in which case I would do counter-canter across the diagonal, give the horse a pat, enough, no more changes. You might get a late change. Again, I would leave it at that. So we tend, when we're teaching them, we tend to do one change each way, each day, good, bad, indifferent, and don't keep going until you get a good one, because when you first start, they simply don't know it. I would wait until they recognize the change aid, and then I can start to do a few more. So one change each way when you first started. But like I said, you could get a smorgasbord. You might get nothing, in which case I would just canter through the short side, down the next quarter line, ask again, and keep going until something happens. You might change in front, might change behind, might leap in the air, or all of the above. Depends a little bit also on the experience of the rider. If you're teaching changes and you have never ridden them before, it's not an ideal situation. I always say you don't try to learn French from somebody that doesn't speak French. And we often, all of us, I was the same. I hadn't ridden flying changes, and I was teaching a horse that didn't know flying changes. It was absolutely the blind leading the blind. But we made it, you can do it. But Serena actually, I think when she was about 10, decided to train her pony to Grand Prix, which she did, and so she's quite familiar with flying changes. So that's a wonderful scenario for the horse. Okay, let's do the same this way. So we're going to pick up the canter. We're going to go down the quarter line and just move him a little bit off the right leg. And just, I like to have the horse coming a little bit forward around the new inside leg before I actually ask for the change. And I'll spend quite a long time setting it up like this, just waiting till the horse actually understands that he's coming a little forward, now coming a little forward around her left leg, even though the horse is leading on the right leg. Try it again, no change. And you don't need a lot, you just need that little feel that he comes forward around the right leg. Good. Oh, did you ask for that?
Yeah.
Oh, beautiful. No, it's great. It was lovely. Okay, and then counter-canter, so long as you ask for it, that's fine. And if she didn't ask for it, I would have taken it anyway, because I'd have been very happy, back across the diagonal. I would have been very happy with it. I would not do the stopping, regrouping, definitely not at this stage. I would have just gone, what? Luxury problem. Okay, so now Serena, show us the way that you taught this guy. So can you do the one that you were talking to me about with that little bit of leg yielding? So this is, she's going to turn down the center line and come not just in half bust, but a little bit leg yielding, which is exactly the same principle. You can see he's coming forward around her right leg, onto the track, and a change. And obviously he knows that really well as well. So there's all sorts of ways of doing it, but you can see that already this horse is showing flexibility in the canter, and that he understands being moved around, and in this way that he learns to wait for the leg aid for the flying change. He's not going to do the flying change on the rein aid. So over she goes, starts a little bit in half pass, then goes a little bit to leg yielding. Comes forward around the left leg and a flying change. Super, Serena, just walk. Good work. Thank you very much. Okay, so the next stage at medium advance is we've got the flying changes sorted, and to be honest, that's not reality for the way that you're going to teach it. I think some horses might take a year to do one clean, lovely flying change. Some horses do a lovely, clean flying change from the moment you ask. So I think you don't impose your own expectations on that. You would love to think that if you set it all up beautifully that it would happen, but it just doesn't. And sometimes you have a horse with a wonderful canter that might take ages to get the flying changes. I know Tineke, when she started with Sunrise, who Imke took to the WEG in Kentucky, Tineke said it took her a whole year to get one normal flying change. Now, that's somebody that's super experienced, but she said it was a nightmare. But then once the horse got the flying changes, she actually had beautiful flying changes, but it just took that long. So don't feel that if you can't get them the first time you ask, it's unrealistic to expect that you would. Okay, so we've moved him a little bit off the leg on the left frame. We'll go to the right rein. So the next thing that you're thinking about with advanced level is canter pirouettes. And Mary showed that yesterday with Caro's horse. And that, so we're not going to spend ages on doing the canter pirouettes, but I would spend a long time, and I would live in this world of being able to move the horse around in the canter. And so, and this will be the reality of actually starting your pirouettes. So let's go just into canter again on the 20-meter circle and pick up your canter. Good. Super. And then the same thing here. I like to be able to do shoulder in right in the canter. And good, he understands that. Good reaction. And then straighten up. And a little bit left flexion. And shoulder in left in the canter. And here, I would like to see even more, being able to keep the shoulders a little out to the left, and to be, yes, that's it, so that he jumps a little bit off the left leg, and like Mary was talking about yesterday, keeping the separation in the hind legs, and then straighten up. And if you have a horse that the second you put him into travers, he slows down the tempo, because here we're trying to keep the tempo, even though we're not going faster. Changing the flexion like that will actually help you keep the tempo, keep the hind leg quicker. So now we'll go to travers. Good. Yeah. And this guy seriously understands this. He must be like his dad. His dad was really good at canter pirouettes. They're good at sitting, good at this understanding, and straighten up. That's lovely. So the next step that I would go to for this would be exactly what Mary was doing yesterday. So we won't spend too long on it, but just come around me in a 10-meter circle in normal canter to start with. So this is... We're going to do a 10-meter circle, and so this is the tempo that we're trying to keep. And so here we go, we're going firstly to shoulder in on the 10-meter circle. That's it. And keep trying to let the neck out a fraction as you do it. Good. Yep. And now straighten up. And now take a little left flexion and bring the shoulders a little, the shoulders stay on the line of the circle and bring the hindquarters in. Good. And then soft rein. And then when he slows the tempo, just have in your mind that you're trying to keep the tempo, that we're not trying to slow it too much at this stage. That's it. Soft rein. Good. Good. And then straighten up. And then travers on the 10-meter circle. And I would do this, good, and not too quick, and not too slow, sorry, the tempo. That's it, good boy. And then go out of it, give him a pat, good lad. So there you can see he's thinking about sitting, but I don't want him to get to the stage where he's slowed down too much with the tempo. So you just live in that until the horse actually just relaxes in it, and it's nothing. It shouldn't be anything too special. Okay, Serena, change the rein with a change somewhere. Good boy. And then exactly the same. We'll just go into the 10-meter circle again. Good boy. That's it. So a little bit shoulder in. Good. And then a little bit right bend and move him off the right leg. Good. Not slowing the tempo too much. Keep it quick and soft rein. Good. And then travers. Good. And then soft rein again. Good boy. Good boy. And then go out of it. Well done. And from that exercise, just walk. From that exercise, I would then bring it a little bit smaller. And then from that exercise, if you're progressing to your canter pirouette, which you have to do at advanced level and which we'll do with the next horse, I would put the horse onto a diagonal and ride that exercise on the diagonal. And so I probably don't ride a lot of quarter pirouettes because to me they're over before they've begun, and then the rider and the horse don't have time to actually grasp what's going on. Whereas if you ride that exercise on a diagonal and you go, then you've got time. If you want to do 8 circles, you can do 8 circles until you both start to go, yeah, that's the feel I want. That's the feel I want, and then I can come out of it. That's great, Serena. Thanks for that. Don't go just yet.
No, don't go just yet, Serena.
Yeah. Any questions on that? Because I think that's often the things that people bring their horses to me with that, and that might be things that you are being asked yourself. So the question is, tell me if I'm wrong, is how, say you've got a rider that hasn't ridden flying changes before, and so what do they do? Okay, I keep it pretty simple. Here I am in left canter, right leg back, left leg on the girth, little bit left flexion, say. That's left canter. There I go, along a left canter. And I want to do a flying change. I'm going to put the horse a little bit around my new inside leg, but I'm not actually going to move this leg yet. I'm actually just getting the horse a little bit positioned right. And basically, you're going to go like that. Whoops, I'm not very good at jumping, but that's what I would do. And so it's literally, here's left canter, that's my flying change aid. That's my very basic first aid. Ideally, if you've got a horse that does flying changes, you put that person on the horse and they feel that. I wouldn't get too involved with the timing, and I would be sort of counting the rhythm of the canter, but don't get too involved. Like people say, do I put the aid on when the inside hind leg is on the ground or off the ground, or the shoulder is here or there? I wouldn't get too involved in that, because you learn the feel later.
Was it just do it?
Just do it. You know, just do it. And we are, I'm afraid at our place, we are a little bit of that, you know, don't overthink it. But it really isn't ideal doing it the way that I did it, which was teaching flying changes to a horse that didn't know them, and I didn't know it either. But we survived. But I would keep it pretty simple like that.
There's another really good question, Rozzie, just a quick one.
Yeah.
It's a great question. Is there a reason that you go in, when you're first doing the changes, that you go from true canter to counter canter rather than from counter canter to true canter? Yeah.
It's interesting. We've done this way, I don't know, for years, because I feel then that the horse learns to do the change on the aid, on the straight. You can teach it the way, obviously you can teach it the way that Serena does it, because the horse has learned lovely flying changes. We tend to do it so that the rider and the horse become very clear. This is a straight line, this is a flying change aid, this is a flying change, this is counter canter back across the diagonal, and it works for us. I think for a lot of people they find that quite confronting, but I went to Germany and was riding with Peter Weston. I don't know whether a lot of you will remember Peter. He rode at Stockholm as well, and I thought he was always a very good technician, and he hadn't communicated with us, and I was very interested to see that he taught the flying changes exactly the same way, and to him it seemed logical to do it that way. So that's the way we do it. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but we do it and all the horses learn it. I think it's important that you develop your own system anyway, that you feel comfortable with. I think probably most people feel more comfortable with the way that Serena did it. The only thing that I would say with that way is then in those blooming medium tests where you have to do half pass to the long side, the horse knows it comes half pass flying change, and for a medium level horse, you know, they're looking to do a flying change there, and quite often if they'll change in front of you, then they're late. You've got to teach them to wait for the change aid. But quite honestly, a medium level horse is going to do that anyway, because he doesn't know the flying changes all that well. But does that answer your question? Whoever asked that question? Yeah?
Thank you very much. Great questions, and simply fantastic lesson in flying change. It was so simple, so calm, so easy, and
yes, but this boy knows them. I mean, if you exactly, when you see the reality of maybe the thoroughbred eventers learning flying changes, it's not so pretty. I mean,
it's the just do it technique.
Very good. They were very good flying changes. Yeah, well done. But that, like I said, that's not reality. But I always feel people say, oh, I've started flying changes, I can't get counter canter. And I go, well, don't stop riding the flying changes, but after you've ridden the change, ride counter canter until the horse is relaxed again. And then maybe back off the flying changes before you've got to go and do your elementary test or your eventing test. But often with the eventing horses, that is much more of a problem, because they're often the thoroughbreds and they're a little feistier. But no, that was lovely. Thank you, Serena.
You put your hands together for Serena and the beautiful Royalty
R. Good for him. Yeah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Serena. It's just beautiful.